make you laugh, shows that make you think, music that moves you. It could only be one place. Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi everybody, I'm Ron Brewington and welcome to The Actor's Choice, brought to you by Photography as an Art. Harvey Brandman, master photographer, located at 1307 North San Fernando Boulevard in Burbank, California. And attorney Ron Irwin's new release publication, 5150, the book. It's the story of the nearly 3 million men and women who went to Vietnam as seen from Irwin's perspective after he served 13 months there. 5150 is now available from lulu.com. And author Larry Buford's book, To the Future, Time Travel Message in a Capsule, now available in paperback from Amazon for only $17.95. And from our new sponsor, State Farm, Agent Carla Green shares all the good things State Farm has to offer. And like they say, a good neighbor, State Farm is there. All right. Our guest today is trying to pursue a career here in Tinseltown. A lot of actors and actresses have been down that road before. And the events he wanted to become a star. Our guest was born and raised in the windy city of Chicago, Illinois, as they say Illinois. I love when they say that. And is an avid believer in fitness, has a passion for life, and an incredible work ethic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bruno G. Campos. What's the G stand for?
Gomez.
Hey, all right.
Gomez.
All right. I thought it said go man, go man, go,
go
man.
man.
Go man.
It can.
Glad to have you here today, Bruno. New in the business, but how you're doing your thing. What's going on with you?
Well, right now, I'm just focusing on trying to get the message across.
Got you.
Keeping up with my healthy lifestyle and pushing that with everyone I meet.
Yes.
Healthy eating.
Yes.
Exercising.
Yes.
And then, most importantly, getting checked. We want to make sure that, especially how we were discussing the Latino community as well as the African American community, we don't get ourselves checked out. So that's the message I'm trying to, give out.
Thank you.
Food, exercise, and getting checked.
Good, because in this town, everybody loves to. They do everything.
Oh,
they smoking the weed, they doing this, everything.
Now that it's legal.
Yeah, it is. Think about that. Yeah, oh well. I see that you've already learned some of the must-dos that you must do here in Hollywood, or as we call it, Hollyweird, and that was getting a publicist. And I must say, you've got one of the best PRs, Camille L. Cortez Lopez, of course, from Espada.
I'm very lucky.
Yes,
I'm very, very lucky. That's how I knew I was meant to be in this town.
Yes, indeed.
Because you get the best, but I wasn't really. I was doing my thing, trying to do it like everyone out here, and I met Camille and I met Jasmine, and they said how talented I was, and even I, said, oh, thanks, and it was just great. We clicked, and I just love them. They've become my family. Yeah. They look out for me. Well, you see it. She takes really good care of me.
Yes, she does. Camille is known.
Yes,
she'll take you all your business for you.
I know that.
All about.
I know that's true.
There are certain roles that you might be looking for as you get into TV and film and whatnot. Okay.
You know what? I've been training for the last year. I've been taking a lot of acting classes and I perform every Thursday. Okay. And some of the roles that I've actually enjoyed doing that have come naturally. Yes. Comedy.
Okay.
Comedy. I mean. I thought it was a little funny, but actually, what I'm learning is being funny and being a comedic actor is probably one of the hardest things that you can do because you have to have the timing and you just gotta be funny and you gotta be sincere and you gotta be real and I'm glad to know that I am sincere. I am real because I am funny. Drama's good. Drama's a little difficult, but I love it as well. But I want to be an action star. Okay. I want to, I work hard.
Action.
I work hard, so put it to use. Yes. Put it to good use.
I like a guy that has his plans already set up. He knows exactly what he is doing. That's good.
I've had a lot of time.
Okay. I'm told that getting roles in Latino market can sometimes be hard to get. What would you say about that?
I think it's hard everywhere, to be quite honest. You just have to, what I've tried to do in this process is just be as well-rounded as possible to be able to provide what everyone's looking for. Okay. So that's why I'm doing the training. I work on my comedic, I work on my drama, I work on my multi-level acting and how to cry on cue, how to laugh on, like all that stuff, as well as being fit and being able to work and being able to look a certain way, being bilingual. I just try to lay as much in my foundation as possible, so when they ask me, "Are you ready?" I stay ready.
So you don't have to get ready.
I don't have to get ready. I stay ready.
Right,
I'm always ready.
That's
how I see it.
Yes.
I don't see it as a Latino thing or an American. Like, I don't see any of that. I just focus on just being as well-rounded as I can, because I can only be who I am. Right. You know, right. I'm a Latino. Well, yes, I am a Latino. Do you speak Spanish? Well, of course I do. I grew up in a Latino home where we spoke Spanish, but I also grew up in this country, so I learned the cultures of Mexico, and I learned the cultures of this country, and that's all I can do, is be as ready as I can be and be as prepared as I can be. Right. And then the roles will come.
Right, the roles will come.
They'll come.
Is Hollywood ready for you, or are you ready for Hollywood?
I'm ready. I'm ready for Hollywood. I am definitely ready. For a long time, I didn't realize, because I've been in LA for a long time. My original dream was to work in radio. And
got a voice, you got GT going
through. You know what I'm saying? Radio was my first passion, and acting was far from that. Gotcha. Everyone wants to be an actor, but it's so competitive, and then you're in LA where you bump into an actor all the time. So I wasn't sure that was for me, and then I started to work out and lose weight, and then started doing all kinds of other things, and all of a sudden, what I didn't realize what I was doing was I was actually preparing myself. Gotcha. So when the opportunity came, I was already almost there. Right. I started performing, and then I had most of the stuff people were looking for, and you know, I was blessed to be in one of the best acting schools, because there I met my publicist, where I met Camille and Jasmine at Espada, and then I went a trip to Chicago, and my publicist said, I'm gonna introduce you to someone in Chicago, and now I have a manager, and then he got me a commercial. Like, it's just, everything's just falling into place. Right. And all I had to do was be patient and like we talked about, laying the foundation. Right. And the beautiful part about all of this was all this stuff that I'm doing to be an actor, it's given me the platform to be able to do the cancers, the educating people, because for a long time, this happened to me over a decade ago, and I just went through it so fast. I never really talked about it. It wasn't until this opportunity that I had. I remember doing my first podcast interview, and we talked about it, and it was strange talking about it, because I'd never talked about it. And then I played it back, and I cried, because I never spoke about it. I didn't talk to anybody about it, not my mother, not my father, my brothers, nobody. And I heard myself on that podcast, and I realized I could have died.
Right.
I could have actually died.
Big
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you start to realize, because I was young,
right,
and I just wanted to get through it, and I got through it, and I didn't realize how blessed I was at the time to have survived it until now. And I heard it, and it was the most pivotal moment in my life, because now I don't take nothing that I do every day is taken for granted. Right. Every day I wake up, I'm thankful to be alive. Right. Every human being I interact with, there's compassion, because everyone has their own things going on. And then my daughter, you know, they told me I was never going to have kids. I was 20, 21. Doctor says, you're never going to have kids. I'm 21. What do I care? Yeah. I'm not ready to have kids anyway. So I dismissed it. Yeah. Then I enter my 30s, and I realized that I want to have kids, but I can't. Then I have my daughter. You better believe I'm the best dad in the world.
Amen.
I got that mug, but that mug, that's a true mug. It says #1 dad. I am a #1 dad, because every day I strive to be the best dad. I try to be the best human being, the best example to her. Yeah. You know, Bruno, does he drink? No. Does he do drugs? No. Does he watch My Little Pony with Little Girl? Yes, of course. Yes. You know, I do everything I can to be that person, and not just to her, but to everyone. That's why these speaking engagements that I do mean so much to me. because I get to tell my story. I never realized how important or how much impact my situation makes to people.
Right.
It isn't until those moments when I'm done speaking and I'm by myself and people come up to you and they thank you.
Yes.
I've had a lot of messages on my Instagram where people are just like, and I was telling Camille, and I was like, this gentleman just sent me a message and he says that he's going through the same symptoms, but he's scared. And I tell him we're all scared.
Right.
And that was my biggest mistake, fear. And that's a lot of our fear. We don't go get checked out because we're scared. But at the end, if you don't get checked, what's going to happen? You could die.
That's right.
I could have died.
Sure.
So this gentleman, he went to the doctor. Doctor told him that it's not cancer.
Good.
Very thankful to be alive. Sent me a message. He said if I could, I would hug you. I love you. This. And those are the kind of things that you appreciate because, you know, a decade ago, we didn't have social media. We didn't have all the resources that we have now.
Right.
Everything I figured out, I had to figure it out the hard way. And that was through an enormous tumor. I'm like, okay, this isn't good. And I couldn't go online on my phone and go on to med.com or whatever those websites are, you know? So I had to figure it out on my own. So now if I can take my experiences and then, you know, share them with everyone else, then it's worth it.
Right.
You know, and I'm grateful for everything that I've done. I'm grateful for my PR who have given me this opportunity to do what I'm doing. It's all love. I love everything. Every opportunity, everything that I'm doing in my life is meant to happen.
Right.
And it's leading me to these moments where I get to help people, and that's the best.
As I listen to you, I can't help it because, as you and I know, I'm a double prostate cancer survivor. I had it twice. And
Congratulations.
only because of that man upstairs in my state
Yes.
here.
100%.
I check in with him
100%.
every day and thank him.
100%.
And you know, it's interesting when I meet, because, okay, maybe some of our viewers might not understand, the number one killer of African American men is cancer.
Yes.
Hispanics are right below us. Asians, are right below us. Then Caucasian. And a lot of men, and I hate to say this, but a lot of men, their problem is sex. They don't want to hear that because they realize that prostate cancer can affect your sex life. And they don't want to hear that. And you say, well, look, man, what's more important, sex or living? You said it, living. You want to live.
One of the things that I've come to realize, well, I waited.
Okay.
I waited. It was again, fear and that shame. Because, you know, I saw what was happening in my body,
Right.
you know, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I kept dismissing and I kept waiting and the tumor just kept getting bigger. And I was more embarrassed to go to a doctor and not just the embarrassment, but I kind of knew what it was already.
Right.
But if you live your life, and I think this is the way all Latinos think. If we live our lives assuming.
How you spell the word assume?
Ass.
Out of
I
you
know.
and me.
I know. But if we spend our lives assuming that it could be cancer, then it might not be cancer.
Well, you know you're born with cancer cells.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that.
They don't.
They don't know that. And as you have a body resistance that can hold it back. But then there comes a time when one day, listen, the Lord says something's going to happen to you.
Yes,
And
sir.
That's what happens.
Yes, sir.
And the thing that I enjoy, and you said this just a moment ago, is learning and to get rid of that fear. When I found out that I had cancer, the first thing I did, thank God I was married to a lady who's a doctor, MD, but unfortunately she was a gynecologist. And so I said, wrong plumbing, we and I can't talk about it.
You can't.
Wrong plumbing. But she also told me, read every book, everything you can about cancer.
Yep.
And I did. And it removed that fear from me, like you said.
And that's one of the things that I've always, I'll say it, preach.
Right, preach.
You preach because
That's what you're doing.
health is your number one.
Amen.
Actually,
it's number two. Health is number two. You know what number one is?
your faith.
God brought you in the world. That's number one.
Your faith.
Then comes the health.
Then comes your health.
Right.
And I always preach about this because I believe what saved me, because I'm lucky to be here today, because that tumor was, the doctor told me, he's like, what is wrong with you? That thing is about to rupture into your blood and you're gonna die. And as I was doing my research and as I was learning and reading everything, I learned that what I did was so common.
Right.
It's so common.
Yeah, a lot of people don't
So
go.
that's why I'm out here trying to make that try not to make it so common, because if you die, because we as Latinos, We want to take care of everybody.
Right. Mama, children,
Everybody. We will take care of everybody. We'll even take care of the neighbors, but we will not. We will not.
Yeah.
We will not take care of ourselves.
Right.
Because then we're selfish. And we don't want to do that.
I just learned
but,
something. Yeah.
But I'm no good to you. I'm no good to my wife, to my daughter. I'm no good to anybody if I'm not here.
Right.
So what, like you said, what's more important?
Sex or living?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So the number, and I think what saved me was my health, because I eat as healthy as I can. I'm not perfect. I have my moments where I miss, stuff.
How about the ethnic food of both of our races?
You know what?
Right.
It was hard.
Right.
It was very hard. But then you put it into perspective, like, can I really stop eating that? And the answer is not 100%.
Right.
But I can.
Like my pork chops, man. Like
my goodness.
You're talking about food. The kind of food.
Glazed. I know.
You want to go upside somebody's head. You love it. You love that food. Your mama taught you that.
Exactly. But
your culture.
My life with my daughter is more important.
Right.
So I can make that sacrifice.
Right.
Do I drink? No. I mean, I do on occasion, but I'm not going to binge like I used to.
God bless
I don't need that. I need my daughter. My daughter needs me. So I just tell people, get checked out. It's very important, because you're no good to nobody if you're not here.
See the doctor, because that's one thing about cancer. If you catch it in time, you'll live.
And self-checks.
Self-checks. And knowing what you're doing.
And knowing what you're doing. But
you've been doing some activity. You've been running around using your celebrity, doing things for the community. Can you talk about that, please?
Yes. It was like I was saying earlier. I was making, and this is meant to be, I honestly feel. I was planning a trip to Chicago to see my family.
Okay.
Nothing about work, just a trip to see my family. And my publicist, Jasmine and Camille, they sent me an email saying, you know what, I have someone out there who's very well connected. He can show you Chicago, because I used to live in Chicago.
Okay.
But this last trip I saw Chicago like I've never seen Chicago. Like, this guy showed me, Chicago. And I was having a conversation with him, and then through our conversation, he said, well, we're doing this event, Dia de la Mujer, Latina Expo, and I want you to be our first male spokesperson for men's cancer, men's health and men's cancer. And it was a national event. I was the first male spokesperson in over a decade.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Very empowering.
Yes.
Very empowering.
Yes.
And the moments that touched home it was awesome being on stage and talking to all these people.
Right.
But the moments where you're off stage and you're just standing there and people just come to you and want to thank you, those are the moments that you really appreciate.
Right.
And then I left Chicago, that left a mark in my head, and I'm very grateful. Then I came back to LA, and then I was asked, I did an interview for Radio Latina, and then they invited me to do an event in Pacoima City Hall, where I got to tell my story again.
Okay.
Same thing. I told them, get checked out, everything, all the things that we discussed already. But it was those moments where I'm by myself trying to like drink some hydrated whatever, and then people just come to you. They want to thank you, or they want to tell you how brave you are, and honestly, I've never thought of myself as brave.
Okay.
Because it was just something that happened that I had to get through. Brave was moving to LA with no money.
Brave.
That was brave. I was like, I'm gonna move to LA. I don't have a plan, but that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I did, and that was brave. What happened to me with cancer was just something that needed to happen, and I always look at it now. I look at it as a blessing in disguise.
Were there any symptoms?
Yes, I had abdominal pain.
Okay.
I had back pain.
Yeah.
Cramps. Obviously, my testicular area was growing, and all of these things were there, and I dismissed them. And I remember in Pacoima, I told the story. I was a tour manager, and I was pushing a trailer. And I don't know if you've ever hitched or unhitched a trailer, but you have to like bend over and you have to crank it and crank it and crank it. And one particular day I had to bend down and I was cranking it, and at 20, you already know your body. You know, you move a certain way. You know when something's wrong. And I bent over and I was cranking it, and I felt it. Something's not right.
Yeah.
But I ignored it. And the next day I did the same thing, and I kept. The tour was about a year. For like 3 months, I just kept doing the same thing. But as the days gradually moved on, it started to feel heavier and heavier and heavier. Till one day I was telling this story in Pacoima. I was in the shower, and I was planning out my day, because these tours were so great because you got to like do whatever you wanted. You got paid really well. So it was my day off. I was gonna go out, but I was in the shower and I got hit with really bad stomach pains. The symptoms that you read about.
Right.
And I jumped out the shower, and I was, obviously I wasn't wearing any clothes, and I was going crazy because I had so much pain, and I said, I gotta do something. I was making the money, but was I responsible? No. Did I have insurance? No. I didn't have any of that, because you're young and you don't think about those things. You don't think about those things. I got dressed. I ran out into the streets like a crazy person, looking for anybody that had some kind of medical training that could take care of me, because I was in so much pain. Wow. I remember picking up the phone, because we did have cell phones. We just didn't have social media, but we had phones. And I called my mom and I said, I'm going to an urgent care. I found an urgent care. I'm going to go because I'm in a lot of pain. She told me, Mijo, you don't have insurance. Go get some Pepto or whatever you need, because or some Robot, like whatever, just go get. You don't have insurance. So I said, you know what, you're right. So I started to walk back, and no, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take the pain. I went inside. And I had to face facts. I already knew. The doctor came out, and in my head, I'm like, this guy is gonna tell me I have cancer. He's going to tell me. And then, he took my vitals. He's like, okay, does it hurt here? No. Does it hurt here? No. How about down here? Yeah. And that's where it hurt. Yes. He's like, all right, sir, I'm going to need you to disrobe, whatever. And I took off my pants, and he just took one look and left. And that's not a good sign.
No, it's not.
That's not a good sign. No. And I was alone. I was in a different state. I had no family. So I called my sister. I don't know what I was thinking, but I called my sister. And I told my sister, I have cancer. Doctor's gonna come, he's gonna tell me I have cancer. He's like, he hasn't told you yet? No. What do you, God, blah, blah. I said, no, I'm not asking you to yell at me. I'm asking you to listen, because I'm scared. And then she was losing her mind, so I hung up on her. I said, I can't even deal with this. Doctor came out, and he's like, I'm almost 99.9% sure that you have testicular cancer. I mean, the tumor was like this. Wow. And I said, 99.9? Oh my God, that's almost 100. I don't know what to do. I flew to Chicago. Yeah. And I went to the hospital. They prepped me. They removed the tumor. He told me I was good. Never gonna have kids. Went through radiation. Gained a lot of weight. Yeah.
It's better than not losing weight.
You're right. You're right about that.
I go to that.
And but in that whole process, I remember people were being very tiptoey around me. Yeah. And I didn't want that. No. I did not want that. I embraced it. I said, you know what? This is God's plan. Thank you. Whatever is meant to happen is going to happen. Right. Whether I'm angry or happy, it's going to happen. So I told my family, I said, I don't want this. If I'm destined to die, I don't want you guys sad. If I'm still here, I don't want you guys sad. Like, I want to be happy. If I'm gonna die, I want to die happy, or I'm gonna leave. We'll go back to California, sleep on that park bench, whatever. And they did. They changed their attitude, and we were happy. And it got to the point where people thought I was faking it. What? Because I was so happy. Wow. But I got through it, and I told myself, the day the doctor says you're okay and you're gonna be fine and whatever, I'm going to move back to LA, because from that point on, I'm never going to allow anyone to take away my happiness. Right. I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it. I'm going to decide if I'm going to be successful, if I'm not going to be successful. It's my life. Right. I'm going to live it the way I want. And I moved to LA, and here I am.
There you are. And you got a good voice.
Oh, well, thank you. I am a singer, too.
I'm not. I understand. So you had an opportunity to go look for work, radio, TV, film, all this good stuff. but always keeping in mind, I like what you said a moment ago, and I wish a lot more celebrities would do that. Because people, when they see a celebrity, they put you up on a pedestal, they think you're a god. But by the same token, you're a human being just like everybody else. And you realize that when you had that tumor, no one knows that better than you. You're your own doctor. You know what was happening.
That's the one thing I always, that was the one thing I always stress when I speak to people, like, you know your body more than anybody else.
Yeah, you're right.
When you wake up in the morning and you know something's not right, no one's going to tell you that. You're going to know that. I knew that. I ignored it, but that's what, to me, that was supposed to happen.
Wow.
Because now I can go and tell people, look, you're 20, whatever years old, you know your body better than anybody else. If you know that something's not right, why are you going to wait?
Exactly.
Get checked out.
Right.
The worst thing that can happen is you catch it early and you get to live a longer life.
Right.
But why wait?
Right.
Why make the same mistake? I'm lucky.
Right.
Now I realize how lucky.
Right.
I'm not only am I lucky to be alive, but I'm lucky to be alive and to have my daughter.
And you didn't do the wrong things, if you know what I mean. Yes. You didn't do the wrong because you know you have children, a child, family, people, your mother, your family.
Yeah. So it's I feel like, and I was telling this to Camille, it's my responsibility to pass on, because the last thing I would want, and it would kill me if I knew that somebody went through the same thing I did and didn't make it simply because I wasn't sharing my experiences.
Okay.
So that's my priority right now, is to make sure that my story gets told.
Okay. Can you share those? Can you hold those thoughts? We want to talk some more about that. We'll have to take a break. We'll continue in just a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Actor's Choice. Our guest actor, Bruno G. Campos. Okay. The studio of Harvey Brandman Photography as an Act is proud to offer you a $100 discount off any photo package for you or your family, valued at $300 or more. Now, Harvey's been in the business for nearly a quarter of a century, and he certainly knows how to take care of you as a customer. So please give him a call today at 818-8954-9294. That's 818-954-9294. You'll be glad that you did. And by the way, please tell Harvey that you heard about his offer right here on The Actor's Choice. 5150 The Book is the latest release from author and attorney Ron Irwin. As a young Marine, Irwin spent 13 months in Chu Lai, Republic of Vietnam. His experiences in the place where nearly 3 million Americans went to war was, as he puts it, 5150. The paperback is currently available at lulu.com. Repeat, that's lulu.com. I wrote the word repeat. Repeat that word again. Irwin says he gives 20% of net book sales split evenly between the veterans of foreign wars and Vietnam veterans of America. Book to the Future, Time Travel Message in a Capsule is a new book by author Larry Buford. It's a historical and faith-based account of how what we do and follow today will affect us tomorrow. The author also calls it an adventure for those who want to travel back through the time. The book is now available for $17.95 in paperback from Amazon. Get your copy today. And now for a word from our new sponsor, State Farm agent Carla Green.
Let me ask you something. What do you see when you look at your home and your car? Do you see a bundle? A combo deal? That's how other insurance companies see them. But a State Farm agent sees so much more. Because the State Farm agent sees your home and your car as more than just 4 walls and 4 wheels. They see the things you've worked really hard for. So why not give them the protection they deserve? Let me help you with that. Give me a call. State Farm agent Carla Green, 213-239-9675. I look forward to speaking with you.
Thanks, Carla. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. That number again, 213-239-9675, 213-239-9675. And finally, if you have a product, service, or upcoming event that you'd like to be advertised on this program, please call us at 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. Please note our prices are very affordable. Thank you. This is The Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Our guest today is actor Bruno G. Campos. Bruno, before the break, you told me you were talking about what you have gone through since you started. One of the things that I wish you could tell us about, you give us a little bit of survival and the guide that you've ran in this new way of getting your life together. Can you talk about that, the focus that you have?
Well, when I went through the process, I remember I wasn't heavy,
right?
But through this process, I gained weight.
You did?
I got to maybe my heaviest 280 pounds.
Ooh,
that's a
wow,
lot.
that's a lot,
That's
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And
Puts a little pressure on the legs.
Man,
Ew.
and pressure everywhere.
Yeah.
And I remember just making a conscious choice.
Yes.
I can't live like this anymore. This can't be. I can't have that feeling of your head exploding when you want to tie your shoe, or like it was just uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. So I remember I started doing whatever I could to just lose the weight. And the first thing I did was I educated myself. What people don't realize, a lot of people will spend countless hours at the gym, and then they'll sit there and they'll count calories. Okay, today I was at the gym, I burned about 600, 700 calories. That means I can go to Sbarro's and get a slice of pizza, or, that was their way of thinking.
Yes.
But, it doesn't work that way.
No,
It just does not work that way. So one of the things that I educated myself, I realized that if you want to look good, feel good, be healthy, you have to change the way you eat.
Right.
Because part of your success in getting to that place is your diet. 80% is going to be your diet. And that was one of the at 280 pounds, I've learned to love all kinds of food. I was loving pizza, I was loving pasta, I was everything. But I had to learn that was not going to sustain my life.
Right.
So I had to find ways to cook the foods that I like a healthier way. And I started working at this meal prep company.
Okay.
And I became a cook. I loved cooking. I've always loved cooking, but the reason why I went there was because I needed to educate myself on how to cook. I had to be healthier, and that helped me a lot. Then I started taking. I always did boxing, always, but I got into it more. And then I started working out harder and harder and harder, and I started eating better and cleaner. And all of a sudden, the weight just started coming out. And then, like I told you before, I gave up going out, I gave up drinking, I gave all that stuff. And all of a sudden, I had a little bit extra more money. Yeah. I'm like, well, why don't the money that I could have spent going out, why don't I invest it in myself? And I got me a trainer, so he can teach me how to exercise and how to properly work out. And then, I'm not kidding you, in 1 year, and you can follow the journey. I documented my entire journey because as I started seeing the results, I realized that I was also doing something that can help other people. Because a lot of people I don't want to say, it's hard. It's hard to learn how to eat. It's hard to exercise. So they just don't do it.
Right, they take the easy way.
Exactly. So I started documenting my journey.
Yes.
And in 11 months to a year, because I see myself every day. I look in the mirror every day, and I don't really see the changes.
You're looking good, my friend.
Thank you.
When you walked in the door, I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had a good body.
Well, thank you.
Look fine.
But I realized that I had lost, in 1 year, I have lost over 80 to 85 pounds.
Right.
And that was simply because, the first month was hard. You're going out with the friends that like to eat, that like to drink. So part of the sacrifice for me was, okay, if I'm going to be successful, I need to surround myself with people that are going to want to succeed. So they're still my friends. I love them very much, but I need to be around people that are going to help me.
Right.
They're going to support me. When I tell them, hey, you know what? I don't want to drink. Okay, you know what? I'm going to sit this one out. And it became my habit where I was able to, in the beginning, it was hard to not drink anymore. But now, they say you do it for 20 days or whatever, then it becomes natural. So then I no longer drink.
Good.
I no longer drink.
Good.
This is California. This is LA. In and out.
Right.
Man, that was hard too.
It is in this town. It's very hard.
And you can sit there and say, I'm going to have a protein, whatever you want to. No. But, I allow myself to have those cheat days. But for the most part, I eat clean. I cook my own food. I try to live a healthier lifestyle. Stress, I've learned that the things that you can't control, why stress about it?
Right.
You ain't going to change it.
Mm-mm.
If you're broke and you need money and you're crying because you don't got no money, crying about it's not going to get you that money.
No.
So why stress about it?
Right.
Just find a solution and get more money. That's the kind of things that I had to change in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I was able to lose all the weight. And now I can able to maintain it because now I love working out because it's become part of my life. I love the foods that I'm eating because it's become part of my life, and now I'm happy because now I get to pass that on to my daughter. When I cook, she's with me. My daughter can make her own pancakes.
How old is she?
She's 5.
Okay, all right.
She'll sit there, she'll crack the egg, she'll mix it, and she'll pour it. That's what I want to learn. That's what I want to teach her. And that's why when I started to lose the weight, I started teaching kids. I became a kids boxing instructor for kids. And it wasn't just the focus on, it wasn't just about the boxing, it was about being healthy and talking to the parents and making sure that they eat right, because as Latinos, we always want to cook the foods that we grew up on. Right. And to be honest, Latino foods are not the healthiest.
I know.
They're not the healthiest.
Neither is black food.
So those are the these are the types of conversations that I had with the parents. Turn the TV off, play with the kids, and because when they tell you you're not going to have kids and you have one, it changes your life.
Oh, sure.
And I love kids. I love my daughter, and I love helping kids, and I love if I see a kid that's in trouble, I talk to their parents. He's tired because of this, and it's a good feeling. And none of this could have happened without the platform that was given to me. Right. So I'm very grateful for that.
Because today's society, we have a lot of problems. As you know, looking at newspapers, there's all kind of things happening, right? And the immigration problem, you got this, you got that, all kind of problems. And you say, how does that impact me? It will impact you, for sure.
100%.
For sure. You got to do something.
Well, yeah, we have to do our part.
Yes.
We have to do our part, because we can't just sit and complain and expect change to happen, because that's never going to happen.
Indeed.
I agree with you 100% on that.
Saying, and I love your publicist told me, she said, Ron, make sure you talk about Bruno, what she said, his motivation to follow his dreams. That's marvelous. It's like I was telling you, in now looking back, I didn't realize it then. I realize it now, that the cancer that I went through, as scary as it was a fast process. Oh yes,
it was a fast process. I didn't
aggressive.
I didn't think about it. I said, okay, I'm sick. Boom, this, boom, boom, boom. Okay, how do we get to? Okay, fine, sir, you're fine. I went back to LA, and then I just went with my life. I never talked to anybody about it. I never. To this day, a lot of my friends don't even realize I had cancer. Yeah. And it was like I was telling you, I did done that podcast interview, and my family were like, why didn't you ever give us the opportunity to be there for you? And I said, I just wanted to be over with, And now, like I was saying, I didn't realize how much that changed my life. Right. Subconsciously, I started making changes in my life. Yeah, and now, 10 years, whatever, later, I realized that it was a blessing in disguise. Had I not gone through this process, I couldn't be where I am today. I couldn't make the conscious decisions that I'm making today. I choose to be healthy. Right. If I hadn't gone through that, good. Well, you know what? It's one of the things that come with it. Yeah. I mean, vanity, great, but it's always health. It's always the health first, and none of that could be possible. My frame of thinking, my mindset, none of that would have been possible had I not gone through that. Right. I could have not gone through cancer and lived my life eating poorly, and then I'd be sick with something else. Right. I could have been diabetic. I could have had, I could have been sick. But the cancer, I beat it, but it also saved it saved my life because it changed my form of thinking. Now I get to go around explaining to people why it's important to eat right, why it's important to exercise, why it's important to get checked out. Like all these things come together, and none of it could have happened, and I didn't realize how it all tied together. That's why I always say it's my responsibility to go out and express and tell these stories, because we don't educate ourselves. We always, it'll never happen to me. Like you could tell me that you have cancer, and then I could say, wow, well, he has cancer. Well, that'll never happen to me, and I could live the rest of my life, and I could have it. But because I'm not educated, because I don't check myself, because I'm eating poorly, this cancer is growing and growing and growing, and then by the time,
of course, there's support groups. They always have a lot of support groups.
Exactly, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
When I was going through that, I didn't have that information. Like I couldn't go on my phone and cancer, blah blah.
Yeah.
There's and Google Maps will tell you where the nearest. Like all that stuff is at your disposal. All you need to do is take the time to educate yourself.
Yes.
I didn't have the luxury of doing that. I had to figure it out as I went along, and I didn't share it with anybody because I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I didn't want people to change the way they acted towards me, so I just did everything alone, and that was dumb.
Right.
It was not smart, because I had so many people that loved me, that wanted to be there for me, but and that's why I'm out there. Don't be the same way.
Right.
And that's why I'm happy to have gone through this whole process. Like people, Raul or Bruno, you're so brave. My dad is like, mijo, why? Because my dad's name is Raul.
Yes.
Why didn't you let us help you? And I said, you know what? Let's just not talk about it. But now, years and years and years later.
Well, not that many years.
Like 2, 3, maybe. Something like that.
Too young.
Something like that.
Us young people got to look good.
We do. We definitely do. But now, I look back and I tally all these experiences, and I put them down, and I structure it, and I go out and I tell people, okay, this is what I did. This is what you don't do.
Right.
This is what you have to do.
Are you thinking about writing a book about this possibly?
I'm glad you asked. My whole life, well, not my whole life.
On a tour? Ooh.
Actually, people have approached me about writing a book, and I always said, I'm not that interesting to write a book. But through these last couple of years, 4 film producers have asked me to document in a documentary.
Yes.
And my manager actually came up with an excellent format and an excellent way of doing it. So I'm actually in process right now of doing a documentary of the cancer.
Right.
It's early in the stages, but it is going to happen, because I'm starting to realize how much, when I go on stage and tell these stories, I'm starting to see exactly how it's touching people. Right. I remember when I was in Chicago and I was on stage, and everybody was looking at me, and I was telling this story, and it's my story. You don't really think people are interested in your story, because it's your story.
It's your story, right.
But then, in the back, because it was an expo, and there were sponsors there and curtains, and as I was telling my story, the curtains started to open up, and people started to come, and they wanted to listen. And then when I got off stage, they came and they talked to me, and it was one of the most beautiful moments of my life, because it felt like I did my part. This one woman came and she brought her son, and she's like, can you please tell my son how important it is? Because it was, how when you go to a doctor and they do that test for a hernia,
yes,
they want you
test.
To you have to cough, and he went, and he was like 12, I think.
Yes.
And the mom was in the waiting area, and the son went in there, and he told the mom, because he was acting weird, because it was his first time, so he thought that the doctor had been inappropriate, right? Yeah. Because he didn't know any better, because we don't educate ourselves.
Right.
So then she was like, can you please talk to my son and tell him? And I sat there and I said, listen, the doctor, and you have to get checked, and this and that. And then it started to sink in, and then the mom started to cry.
Yeah. And
then she gave me a hug, and then she said, I don't know what I would have done with this situation had I not met you. It's like I was destined to meet you. And when you hear words like that, you can't help but get the goosebumps. And I cry. I'm a very sensitive person. I cry all the time.
Get in line.
I cry for everything,
in
and then
line.
especially when when it comes to helping people, and
Yes.
you've done your part.
Right.
Like, had I not met this person could have not gone through this, or my situation, had she had not heard me speak, she wouldn't have been able to do this. And then they come to you and they tell you, and that's the part that makes you grateful to be alive.
Right. Now, you talked about a documentary. I can just see you now at Grauman's Chinese Theater for the opening night. Your publicist down there walking through the various media personnel. Bruno, what do you think about this? Bruno, what's your thought about that? That looks good, man. And the book, that looks even better. Because you're getting the word out there, using that celebrity to get it out there, yeah. God gave you a break. He used it. Like he gave you a break, gave me a break. He gives us all breaks.
And we have to, it's our responsibility to see what we do with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm doing everything I can.
Good. Whew. So here's one of my favorite questions I always like to ask. I know it's a little bit premature, but how do you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I always put it in perspective of how I want my daughter to remember me. In the way I see her, I want her as well as people. I want them to be able to say, Bruno was the type of person that helped.
Right.
Like if you needed $1 and I only had $1, I would give you that $1 because I'm a survivor. I'll find another $1.
Yes.
So I'll give you my $1. And that's how I want to be remembered. I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that helped. And I don't want to do it to be remembered. It's just the way I am.
Gotcha.
It's just the way I am. But if people are going to remember me, I'd rather them remember me for the guy that helped. Like, that's how I want my daughter. My daughter can, when she gets older and she has her kids, I want her to be able to say, my father was always there for me. I don't ever remember a moment where when I asked my dad to be there for me, he was never there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of human being I want to be. If you need something, I will do my best to do what I can for you. And if I cannot do anything, I will find someone that can help you. Because I want to I want to have that sense of I helped.
Yes.
Even when I didn't help.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Bruno, we've enjoyed having you here today. Hope that you will come back again in the future, sir.
Thank
because
you
it's
so
one
much.
survivor to another survivor. Hey, man, we all we went through our changes.
Yes.
The Lord put us through them, but we all survived.
we sure did.
Sure did. And as what they say, only the strong
Only
survive.
the strong survive.
remember
So
that.
God bless you.
God bless you too, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Special thanks to our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin, 5150, the book, Larry Buford, Book to the Future, Time Travel Message in a Capsule. And our newest sponsor, State Farm agent Carla Green. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And of course, we want to thank our guest, Bruno G. Campos. Best wishes in the future. I want to thank our viewers. We'll see you again next time. Take care.